Good morning, class. Welcome back to UDPL 2423 Maritime Economy. Okay, now can we have a roll call session? Okay, first, Stella,
Yes, sir.
Jinro,
Hi, sir.
Kelly,
Hi, sir.
and Chia Yi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All of you are attending the class. So now, can we start the class?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So, have you all done the classwork on recognition of seafarers as an essential
Yes.
class? Okay, good. So, who want to start first? Stella.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I think it is important to recognize seafarers as essential workers because more and more things that people consume in their daily life are depending on the seafarers, as they are mostly transported by the sea mode, including food, clothes, and even the fuel that is used for the automobile. Therefore, all this movement will be disabled without seafarers. However, the total number of registered seafarers in Malaysia is decreasing significantly in 2018. It represents that there are fewer people applying for seafarers jobs, as the training curriculum of seafarers is unclear and yet it is considered as a hazardous job. This has become a problem as maritime transportation is very essential for the international trade, and the seafarers are very important in assisting the maritime transport to move smoothly. So, to solve this issue, they first must ensure the safety of the seafarers. For this, the International Maritime Organization IMO has reviewed the rules and regulations to make sure the ship's operation has achieved the safety criteria so that the seafarers can be protected. Also, IMO has spent a great amount in implementing legislation that has a huge effect on the training and education of seafarers. For example, those conventions like Safety of Life at Sea (SOLAS) and Standards of Training and Certification and Watchkeeping (STCW) have acted as a recognition of seafarers as essential workers since the safety and welfare of the seafarers are emphasized by the international body.
I also have some opinion. The International Labour Organization (ILO) embraced the Maritime Labour Convention 2006 (MLC), which acts as a tool to highlight the rights of seafarers all around the world. The coverage of the seafarers' rights in this convention are age restriction, medical certification, employment agreement, working and rest hour, accommodations, recreational facilities, food, complaint procedures, and wages. There are few amendments in MLC, where the first amendment is to remedy the seafarers who suffer from lifelong injuries, fatality, and abandonment by providing reliable economic support. Next, the amendment with the objective to avoid harassment in the workplace was adopted in 2016 to guarantee the safety of seafarers. For the seafarers who are being held hostage due to piracy and armed robbery issue, as shown in the video, their employment contract must be retained and their wages must remain payable are also the issue to deliver in the amendment process. Furthermore, ILO also has introduced the Seafarers Identity Documents Convention 2003 to ensure the marine industry from all the awful violent acts and to safeguard the freedom of the seafarers regarding the necessary movement for their prosperity and exercise. To achieve this, the Convention enables the precise form of the identity document by evolving the technology. For example, the biometric layout with fingerprint, and it can be utilized on an international level. This ensures eligibility for visa waiver, facilitates authentication at ports and border crossing, shore leave and transfer without the visa requirement.
Good, very clear for your explanations. So now I would like to critique the policy that have been mentioned by your friend just now. So according to the SOLAS and the STCW, we can say that both of the policies can be defined as a good policies because both of them has provide the basic needs and rights for the seafarers. However, IMO or others relevant enforcement units also need to consider the seafarers' mental problem, which is raised by the emergency situation such as COVID-19. As we know, the seafaring industry is considered as a harsh, dangerous, and stressful industry. It will have a series of negative impact on their safety, physical health, and mental health of the seafarers. For example, under such forced conditions, seafarers are forced to be trapped on the ship. They need to stay with few months outside of the contract, which will put increasing pressure on their physical endurance and mental health, so that this will cause them a negative impact for the seafarer. Okay, next. Who want to add some point?
Hi sir, I have another opinion here. The implementation of the policy above will also increase the risk of kidnapping and pirate attacks since the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in a spike of unemployment. When the policy is enforced, it means that seafarers need to remain at work even in the middle of a pandemic and exposed to the risk of facing pirates. For example, there are almost daily alarms of pirates trying to board the vessels and even more severe cases of crew kidnapping. These events will affect the psychological and mental state of seafarers and causes them to feel uneasy. This cannot be compensated by money.
Okay, thank you. So next, in your opinion, what are the advantages and disadvantages when the seafarer become essential worker?
Now it's my turn to share about the advantages of recognizing seafarers as key workers. By recognizing seafarers as key workers, it ensures the smooth flow of cargo across the supply chain. During the outbreak of pandemic COVID-19, the enforcement of quarantine and confirmation tests at the beginning and the end of the voyage stops seafarers from entering into a new contract and commence their work. No seafarers means no cargo can be transported. By assigning them with an essential title, the protocol designation had brought the creation of Global Integrated Shipping Information System (GISIS) that allows a ship owner or charterer to arrange their crew in advance. With the presence of seafarers, the cargo operations can be back into action. Next, it also facilitates the exchange of vessel crews. With travel restrictions remaining to be changed rapidly and frequently, these vessel crews are working under a stressful and anxious environment where they could not reunite with their family and could not connect with the outside world. The effort to implement an internationally recognized protocol by IMO leads to the formation of procedures and standard measures that gives way to a safe and smooth crew change. This is significantly important to allow the seafarers to return home safely after their contract ends.
After the advantage, let me discuss more about the disadvantage. The first disadvantage about recognizing seafarers as an essential worker is the visa issue. Nowadays, many parties invest in the maritime industry, and the consulate of each country will give the visa to the seafarers. Through the vessel operation seem to be improving, consulates in the major labor supplying countries remain in place due to their respective government policy. Due to the inconsistent in the policy and application, seafarers were unable to secure a visa for a voyage to the visa required countries such as Europe. This condition results in the lack of seafarers or making it more difficult for a charterer and the ship owner to assemble a full crew team capable of delivering the service on the vessel sailing to the Europe. And the second problem is the additional of documentation and uncertainty in the vessel operation. Aside from observing the protocol, related parties such as shipping firm, status, and seafarers must be mindful of the precaution enforced at the 20 locations specified in the protocol for entering a ship and the protocol for leaving a ship and representative. They must also prepare the required documentation such as evidence of seafarer stated documents, port crew treasure information sheet, and the crew health self-declaration form. This will complicate the boarding process even further and could result in the emergency of new problem. Despite the fact that the protocol was intended to be an optical structure, national authorities often enforce the quarantine procedure on the seafarers, which will create a misunderstanding to the ship owner. And that's all for the advantage and the disadvantage. Thank you.
Well done, guys. So we move on to the next questions. The next question is, what are the area improvement of the policies? So let me start first. The first problem faced by the seafarers, which is the visa issue. The major challenge for non-EU seafarers is obtaining the visa. This is due to the limited capacity of EU member states consulate in the major labor supply country. So that to solve the problem, the relevant enforcement need to develop a framework that can increase the ability of EU members state consulate to give the visa to the seafarers. Working with the European Community Ship Owner Association, which is called ECSA, and the European Commission, the ICS have pushed for EU countries to able to issue seafarers visa or arrive or grant them a temporary waiver from visa requirement to aid in the resolution of the crew change crisis. ICS spearhead the development of the IMO framework of protocol for performing safe crew change, which is now being promoted by government around the world. So okay, this is the first problem. Next,
Areas that can improve include reducing documentation needed for seafarers. The documents needed for seafarers in the protocols is evidence of seafarer status documents, crew health self-declaration form, and others. The ways that can improve this problem is simplify documents needed and use a unified system to identify seafarers, such as electronic ID cards. As the advanced technology in this generation, the information of seafarers and the companies can be shared on time through the big data technology. This will decrease the barriers of the companies and seafarers.
Then another improvement for this policy is to increase the number of countries designated seafarers as essential workers. Currently, there are only 45 countries out of 174 member states under the IMO have designated seafarers as essential workers. Hence, the IMO needs to increase the effort to promote the benefits of recognizing the seafarers as essential workers, because this would increase the protection of seafarers if all the member states under IMO had recognized them. Other than that, if all the countries protect the right of seafarers, the safety and the right of seafarers will increase. Therefore, I think that IMO could maybe force all the member states and even all the maritime industry to involve in this policy.
Good. So the last question for today is, what are the suggestions for betterment toward sustainability?
So for the question above, I would like to share the first point, which is educating the seafarers. The shipping industry has created severe pollution that eventually will jeopardize human health and affect the quality of marine foods. To create sustainability, seafarers needs to instill the knowledge of green behavior in disposing the marine waste, such as the ballast water and greasy liquid released by the vessels. It is because these waste may harm marine life and aquaculture if not handled properly. To make the greening practices more efficient, ship operators have to offer appropriate guidelines for the seafarers in executing environmental friendly practices. With these combined efforts, seafarers can be able to fulfill their obligations in maintaining the marine sustainability.
After the break, ship operators can come up with standardized methods which comply with national legislation to prevent heavy penalties. It is because there are regulations in the US where seafarers are possible to be charged or imprisoned when they are caught disposing of the waste inappropriately. Moreover, by seeking help from parties like Oil Companies International Marine Forum and the Chemical Distribution Institute, it could decrease the pollution significantly, as they could offer recommendations in the ways to conserve the environment as well as decrease the environmental consequences.
I think that employee retention also very important in maintaining the sustainability of seafarer supply. Unlike other sectors, the intrinsic reward system will be more effective to retain seafarers in the shipping industry because issues faced by the seafarers are like family problem, illness, or the loss of passion towards this career, which is usually more on the internal side of an individual. Thus, instead of offering incentives to retain the seafarers, it is preferable to provide sufficient training and development programs for enhancing the knowledge of the seafarers to reduce the turnover rate. So that's all from me.
The last suggestion to sustain the supply of seafarers, employer must develop succession planning for the seafarers. A strong succession plan must be combined with the careers preparation, as the two together could clearly address the main factor contributing to the rising rate of cadet, junior, and the senior official turnover. This is due to the fact that job preparation will be more focused on the various careers needed and the goal of each seafarers, which is particularly important in an industry with a diverse workforce. Through this, a comprehensive succession strategy should be put in place to monitor, coach, and prepare the seafarers for the potential role. Similarly, various dissatisfaction has been found with onboard recruitment, corporate culture, and the career growth, all of which can result in the squandering of potential capacity, because it can take a long time for seafarers to graduate from cadet to the official status. As a result, in the increasing globalization maritime industry, succession planning would be a perfect way for shipping firms to attract and handle the seafarers. And that's all for our suggestion. Thank you.
All of you are done the presentation well. So now, let me do the simple conclusion for this topic. In a nutshell, it is crucial to recognize the seafarer as an essential worker because world trade is dependent on the seafarer significantly. Also, the mental constitution of a seafarer, including being apart from the family, without a network with the rest of the world, and the tremendous work pressure indicates that seafarers are undergoing a true process. So that's all for the topics. So do you guys have any questions? So if no, can we end the class now?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so thank you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy.